So first things first, Trish Stratus versus Becky Lynch. It seems like is no longer on the card for SummerSlam. It's been pulled for SummerSlam, and it will be taking place on the August 14th edition of Raw, which will emanate from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Reports are suggesting that the move was made because Stratus and Becky were both nursing injuries. Other reports are saying that it was a timing issue with the matches and they weren't satisfied. So then, that was pulled. I just kind of want to know what you guys' take is on this entire scenario or this entire thing with Trish and Becky, as far as their match being pulled from SummerSlam.
Hot garbage. This is like the longest told story that's happening right now since what? Right before WrestleMania, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And you're gonna pull it last minute because injury. But both of them seem fine to me. Are we talking about Trish's messed up nose or Becky's messed up weave? I don't think that counts as an injury. I think that's just life at this point. And I feel like they have really earned the time on the card. I was reading something earlier that was like they would not do like The Rock or Stone Cold like that as a Hall of Famer. They wouldn't pull their match and put it on a random Raw just because Slim Jim decided to front them a little cash for a battle royal. But that is just where I'm at on that.
Mo, how do you feel?
I'm honestly shocked because like Trish is like a golden girl. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like Trish and Becky did such a good job with the Saudi show and stuff like that. Like a lot of people was not expecting that match to eat the way that it did, but it served. And I just feel like for SummerSlam, like they always make it a thing to bring like a legend back. You know, that is just kind of part of the theme to just like a treat of some sort. So it kind of feels odd that again, with how of a high regard they hold Trish to be, they just kind of decided, oh, we're just gonna throw this on like Monday, like it's whatever. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if that's a reflection of like what backstage feels about the segment and how it's like taken to the crowd or something. But to me, I think it's a little bit offensive. Just because it's Trish for crying out loud. Like you deemed her to be like the top of your division, the biggest inspiration, this trailblazer, blah blah blah, and like you're putting her on Monday. Like, can you imagine that being done to like John Cena or something?
Well, they had to remind her that she is still a woman, and they were like, "Girl, let me just take you a flashback to when you was here full time the last time. You take your little 2-3 minutes, and you make it work."
Literally, and that's the problem. Like, it does feel like we're slowly kind of going backwards here, and I can't imagine Trish or Becky being okay with this, even with the
Well,
injury. I mean,
they've been tweeting. Instagram and stuff all day about people or like what do you call it when you share somebody's Instagram story? Whatever. I'm old. They are reposting other people being like, "Hey, this is not cool that
it's
you
not.
snatched our spot."
Yeah, like you're setting them back, and it's just like for what? Like, what exactly was so important on this card that you couldn't at least like swap that out or cut that down to make time for Becky and Trish? Like to me, the injury thing is full of shit because hell, Becky wrestled pregnant. Okay, I don't want to hear none of it. Okay,
Bruce
I don't
shook
want to
all up
hear
in
none of
there.
this. I don't care what injury she has. If you can wrestle for WrestleMania pregnant, there's no reason why you can't pull up for Trish for
That
SummerSlam.
that Slim Jim check bumped them right out of there.
Slim Jim check is nuts.
They tweeted earlier. WWE tweeted earlier that the Slim Jim partnership was like their biggest partnership ever
So good.
for a battle royal that has zero implications. But let me hold that until we get
Literally.
to it. Let
Yeah,
me hold
no,
that until we get to
that's
it.
very well. What did you think, Jordan?
So, like you said, one of the biggest things is that the way that, and this is not based off of my personal opinion, but based off of the way that WWE portrays Trish Stratus, she is the Michael Jordan of women's wrestling, right? And when you have someone of that stature coming back, even if it's for one match, in my opinion, you make it work. And also, I think that you keeping Trish and Charlotte when shows as long as the Passion of the Christ, but you kicking off Becky and Trish and a reporter suggesting that it's due to timing, I think it's just a little bit weird and a little bit sus, and it kind of reaffirms Becky's plight against Charlotte as far as her being heavily favored because y'all did not keep the same energy for the Trish Charlotte match. And if we're being very very honest, the story that Becky and Trish are telling is a much more engaging story than the one that Trish and Charlotte had. Between the match at Saudi and the way that it kind of ended, that was a big plot twist with Zoe Stark coming out as a surprise affiliate of Trish Stratus. Um, and now here we are. I just feel like the story is so well told and it's so well developed that you not putting it on SummerSlam is just a disservice to the women's division, because we need storylines that may not have a championship involved, but they have major implications. So I think that's a big part of it, and because of that, I'm not necessarily in agreement with the fact that they took the show. I mean, not the show, took the match off the card. I think that, like, what precedent are you setting and what message are you sending by doing this, right? Um, Especially, like, you said, as far as the Slim Jim Battle Royal, it's like we can't be out here talking about wrestlers and saying that they need to develop better stories, and then when better story is developed, you just lead them to the main event of Raw, of a random Raw. It's
Then it
just
might not even main event then.
and it may not even main event. And so I think that, you know, more than just with the match and it being left off the card, I think one of the things you have to ask is, what message is this sending to the rest of the roster? You know what I mean? And especially to the women in the back, right? Because there's a bunch of people who don't have the spotlight who deserve one, and they're seeing this, and I'm pretty sure that they're watching, and they're paying attention. But
Shotzi is bald headed now, and what does she got for it?
Shotzi look like me. Shotzi looks like
Shotzi
me.
is in her G.I. Jane fantasy.
She got that.
But also, it's a Saturday now. It's like SummerSlam is on a Saturday. We don't have to work on Sunday. Well, most of us don't have to work on Sunday. So you go and extend that little show.
Literally, we ain't got nothing to do the next day. But we want to know how you guys feel about Becky and Trish being left off the SummerSlam card. But this is not the only woman that is left off the card.